I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is another request, this time from Dakota. Thank you so much for your generosity as well as everyone else's. If anyone wants to request any type of topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, talking about movies, games, lists, news, pretty much any type of videos, you send a request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now this is a review for a film called Born to Defense. Now, a little bit with this title. Number one, I always thought it was Born to Defend, because that sounds more natural. Born to Defend. But a lot of places say, once in a while you find a place that says, oh, you know, it's called Born to Defend, but apparently the actual title is Born to Defense. And also the spelling of defense. I'm like, well, is it with an S or a C? Apparently both work. But it's depending where you are in the world. Like here, we mainly spell defense with an S. Other places they spell defense with a C. So again, apparently both are correct, from what I understand. Now the other thing with this film, it's directed by Jet Li. It stars Jet Li, but it's the only film he directed. And I thought this was much later in his career, because I vaguely remember this film. No, it's like his fourth movie. And part of me wonders, how the hell did he get to direct in his fourth? Like, were the previous films that much of a huge hit that they went, yeah, give him his movie to direct and star? But he did. And it's the only film he's directed. There's no making of material of this. So it's all hearsay and rumors and stuff I've read about. I've read that Jet is not a fan of the movie for a number of reasons. That apparently it was overscheduled. It got over budget. It went over schedule. It went over the schedule, over budget, and that he got hurt quite a bit during this. I've heard that he got his back fucked up. That lasted for years. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. Also, apparently, if you see much later on in movies, he always has this scar on his nose. Apparently it's from this movie that during one of the boxing scenes, his nose got broken. And apparently that's where the scar on his nose comes from that you see later on, is from this movie. So this is, if all that or any of that is true, that's why he's like, nah, I'm not going to direct it yet. I'll just be in front of the camera. Now the movie itself, I wouldn't say I hated it, but I didn't love it either. It's definitely not one of my favorite Jet Li films. There's many I would put above it. I mean, I would put Kiss of the Dragon is my personal favorite. I have reviewed some of the Jet Li American films on the channel. Kiss of the Dragon to me just had a fun, entertaining mix of action and using the locations in France, and it's a film no one really talks about, but Kiss of the Dragon I think is underrated. I would put Romeo Must Die above this. I would put Fist of Legend above this. I still rather watch this than Forbidden Kingdom. I'm sorry. But the story of the movie is pretty simple. Jet Li's character, and the character is actually named Jet. He's in a war with the Japanese. You see a little bit of the warfare at the beginning. It made me go, wow, he had a bit of a budget, because this opening sequences, there's hundreds and hundreds of people, and there's tanks, and there's explosions, and he definitely, for his directing debut, again, it's like, this is his 4th film. How did he get all this budget? How did he get all, like, all the budget is like to the beginning of the movie, just this big wartime. You're blowing up the treads of this tank and flipping, avoiding explosions and blowing some up with grenades or shooting. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this opening 5-10 minutes or so. Then it gets to after the war. He's come home, but those Americans, they've taken all the glory. So while he's there, he sees his buddy, a war buddy. I believe the character's name is Zane, who drives it. He uses a rickshaw to take people from one to the other. There's a subplot dealing with a prostitute, where you find out that the prostitute is his buddy's daughter, and the buddy doesn't want anything to do with the daughter because you shame me because you're a hooker. But Jet Li ultimately gets the two of them back together as a family. And the other is just dealing with those Navy asshole Americans. And it's very one-dimensional. It's very much a caricature. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because on the one hand, it's hypocritical of me to be that angry about it, because there's many other films, both American films and films of Asia, where you have another race put in there as the bad guys, and it could be very simple-minded in the way they're portrayed. I love Ip Man 2 with Donnie Yen, but people could easily say, well, the British, like, are there no good guys? I mean, I think there's certain Bruce Lee movies where all the Japanese are bad. See, it's one of those things where you look back, you go, it's a bit weird, but I guess, to be perfectly honest, I don't think about it because I'm not that race. And then when it is your race, then you think about it a bit more, and then it makes you think about, yeah, you know, there's a bit, you know, if I'm having a bit of issue, maybe other people would have issue. Like, I wonder how Japanese folks feel about Bruce Lee movies that do that. I wonder how the British folks, people in the UK, how they feel about Ip Man 2. I do wonder. And so part of me is like, okay, you know, it is a movie. It's just a movie. It's not racist or anything. It's just a movie. But there's a part of me that's like, man, I wish you could at least have one American that's decent. Or like one of the soldiers. At least have one of the soldiers, Jet. You directed the film. You probably helped with the script. Perhaps. I mean, you are the director, you're the boss. You just say, hey, can we at least have one American that's not a total douchebag? At least one. Just one is all I'm asking. But again, it's very, very evil Navy Americans. Whether it be having this hooker and the rickshaw driver gets pissed, so the American beats the shit out of the rickshaw driver, which is Jet Li's buddy. Whether it be this bar, don't fuck with the Navy, boy. And then Jet Li's fighting them in the bar. One of them says, "What do I have, a boxing match?" So Jet uses. I do like the fight scenes. That's the thing. I do like the choreography. It's Jet Li in his prime, and he's showing how fast he can be, and you know, he's doing boxing, but he's doing kicks and elbows and throws, and it's like, no, you can't do that. Only box. So Jet Li's trying to get used to it, and then he's doing well in the boxing, beating up the American. This is a very simple story. Some would say too simple. Although, I'm a sucker for simple stories, but even I'm like, you could almost make this film to be 45 minutes long instead of 90 minutes. And it got a bit tedious at times. Because kind of rinse and repeat. Because then he takes over for his buddy, the rickshaw driver. I didn't need to see him picking at this fucking big piece of skin off his foot. I didn't need to see that. But he's doing that, and then, oh, the captain of the Navy, well, even before that, he goes back to the bar. And it's like, you don't be my sparring partner. Don't fight back or this bar owner gets it. So Jet Li lets him beat him up as a sparring partner so that the bar owner doesn't get beat up. Then later on the hooker's like, oh, you know, the bar owner was with the Americans. They played you for a fool. So he goes back and then he beats up the... Like, so much stuff comes back to the same bar and the same fighting, and the choreography is fine, but it just feels like you're just repeating back and forth. You with the hooker and the rickshaw, you're back to the bar and the boxing ring. Back there, back to the bar and boxing ring. It's like he spent all his money in the opening war scenes, and now he has like 4 places he could film for the rest of the movie. And if that's the case, that was a mistake in my opinion. And the movie feels grim. And part of me's okay, so that doesn't feel like a typical Jet Li film, so that's interesting. But it does feel grim, and it's funny when you first... if you first saw this film back in the day, the older DVD copies, it was very, very dark. At times you barely see shit. Nowadays is that the case because it's cleaned up and so forth, but I know my friend Efrey's not a fan of the film. I wonder if... I'm trying to remember why. It might have been because of the grimness, or maybe it's the story. Ultimately, the captain of these Navy dies. He has a fight. And this fight goes on for a long time. And while I'm not minding the choreography, and I don't mind the idea of the roof kind of caving in so it starts raining inside, that's the nice touch. But this fight scene just seems to go on forever. And it's like, I don't mind the choreography, but just something about this is just not exhilarating to the point that usually to me, the longer the fight, the better. But I'm like, geez, this fight's going on for like 10 fucking minutes, it feels. And I'm like, what is it about this fight that I'm liking, but it's like... Maybe because there's just only so much... I don't know, just... I've seen Rocky movies where all the rounds take less time than this. It just... But at least in a Rocky movie, you have the use of the music, which is very important. Here, I can't remember anything about the musical score. Well, this parts are okay, to be fair. This parts are okay. I remember someone saying, is this the music from No Retreat, No Surrender 2? I'm like, is it? It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I like that movie, but... Anyway. After this big, long fight, that's when it goes back to the plot of him getting his buddy and the buddy's daughter who's a hooker together, and things are fine. But then the American Navy guys are pissy about what happened, and spoiler alert, spoilers, they throw those 2 off, they die of their wounds, everyone goes to jail, the Americans are let out, Jet's pissed, of course, he gets some water, does a thing that you kind of see in... Jackie Chan did in Shanghai Noon, where he bends the bars with the wet... Granted, he didn't piss on it like Jackie Chan did in Shanghai Noon, but you get the bars and you bend them in order to escape. And then the finale, at times, almost feels like it wants to be a Death Wish film. That's when he's like, oh, just a little bit grim. And like one person he hurts. One person he hangs upside down. It's like, get me down, get me down. This third guy, I guess because he's the guy that actually physically threw them off, he ties that guy up, and the guy gets burned alive in a fucking furnace. No, okay. Yeah, grim. And then it has this fight with the main bad guy, and I like the way Jet Li is very good at choreography. Part of you goes, I think it would have worked better maybe if he was a choreographer of the film and not the director of the film. And during this fight, I like that it takes place at this factory, and Jet Li's using this big chain, and at times they're using these big fucked off wrenches. And there's a point where Jet Li's blocking, and the guy keeps hitting down, and you see that each time he gets hit, the bar that he's using to block is cut more and more into his skin. That little detail's like, I liked that detail. I'm enjoying the fight, but then the end of the fight was really lame in my opinion. Because it ends with he starts getting his ass kicked by this big guy. I'm like, where is this going? And then the only reason the guy goes down is because this fucking rope of barrels almost randomly hits the guy. I'm trying to remember if Jet Li hit a rope and it caused that to happen, or if that really was random. I'm trying to remember now. I'm like, it's not Jet Li beating the shit out of the guy and yeah, no, it's this big fucking thing of barrels. Like, what? And then Jet's ready to kill the guy, and he doesn't. I'm like, you already burned this one guy alive, but this guy you won't kill. I guess because technically he's not the one that threw his two off the roof, but he also didn't say anything about it to the cops, and he seemed happy with his men. Like he did say his men, what did you guys do? But that's probably more because he doesn't want to get in trouble, not because of a moral implication. But it's like, now Jet's like, I will not kill. You just burned a guy alive in a fucking furnace. So that's what I mean. I'm very in the middle of this film. It's a Jet Li film I would not watch a lot. Maybe watch a couple of the fight scenes during like a montage of, you know, Jet Li action scenes. But the stories, I would say the stories, just not much there to the story. It's just kind of redundant, where asshole Americans fight in the ring, asshole Americans fight in the ring, hooker, fight in the ring, hooker. It's like this kind of same thing over and over and over again, and then yeah, the ending's a bit grim, and I mean, even the final fight, it doesn't have a satisfying finale to that fight. And I don't know, I mean, it's not a Jet Li film I grew up with, and it's not a Jet Li film I would watch much again. But it does have some nicely choreographed fight scenes. The opening seems like where most of the budget went into. The acting from Jet Li didn't bother me. The Americans, very caricature. There's even a black guy among the Navy men who, I swear any minute now, he's going to say something to the effect of, "Ooh," you know, just like, I don't even know if I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But I'm very mixed on the movie, I'll say that. I'm very mixed. I don't think it's his worst film. Again, I would rather watch it, at least for the fight scenes, over The Forbidden Kingdom or what the fuck was that one movie? So bad I forgot about it. It was one. It was not too. What was probably 5 or so years ago. It was an overseas movie. I forgot what the fuck it was called. Damn it. I'll probably remember after it's all. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it's of his early films. Of his early films, the ones I've seen is the one I think is the weakest so far. Just I like Fist of Legend. I like the one that he did with Michelle Yeoh, Tai Chi Master, I believe. It's a different name, I think. I did like that one as well. I didn't mind. Even the one he had with the little kid, I would rather watch that than this. Because obviously I like the story in that a little bit more than this. But yeah, if you're a Jet Li completionist, sure. But I don't know if you'll love the film. And it's at least of curiosity to see what Jet Li did as a director. As a director, I think he knows how to set up his fight scenes, the opening, all the chaos happened there. But I think he picked the wrong story for his first debut. And yeah, it's a bit weird where, some would call it xenophobic on Jet Li's part. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just, hey, it's a foreign menace that's been used many times, Japanese, and we as Americans, we don't, because hey, we're not Japanese. So again, that's almost like, it'd be hypocritical to call it xenophobic. It's strange, but when you watch it, but it's not xenophobic. It's just, I wish a few things in the story could have been changed a bit. And would have made it better, in my opinion. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.